Ladies and gentlemen, today we explore a fascinating and profound aspect of Indian spirituality, the realm of Naga Sadhus, their pursuit of siddhis, the significance of the Kumbh Mela, and ultimately the quest for mukti. This ancient tradition carries within it the wisdom of millennia and a journey towards self-realization that is as relevant today as it ever was. The Naga Sadhus are an extraordinary group of ascetics in India. They are known for their nakedness, symbolizing their detachment from the material world. For centuries, these monks have followed rigorous paths of self-discipline, often retreating into seclusion for long periods to refine their inner faculties. What drives them is a profound understanding of the human mind's potential and the need to break free from the physical and mental limitations that confine us. Naga Sadhus are not just renunciants, they are seekers of truth. They embrace extreme conditions to push themselves beyond their known boundaries. When we look at them, we must see their commitment to breaking the cycle of habitual thinking that keeps us tied to the superficial. They represent the possibility of living with a certain intensity and awareness that few can comprehend. Siddhis, often described as mystical powers, are byproducts of the intense yogic practices of the Naga Sadhus. But let us be clear, siddhis are not the goal, they are distractions on the way to a greater realization. The true meaning of siddhi lies not in the ability to control the elements or heal others with a mere touch, but in the mastery over one's own mind and the transcendence of one's ego. Siddhi is the byproduct of inner discipline, and it is only through mastery over oneself that the mind can be liberated from the shackles of illusion. The Kumbh Mela stands as the most significant spiritual event for millions of people who gather in sacred places along the banks of the river. This gathering is not merely a religious festival, it is a spiritual spectacle. It is a symbol of the human longing for connection, for liberation, and for a deeper understanding of the cosmos. In the gathering of the masses, in the immersion into the waters, there is a metaphor, the washing away of the ego, the transient self, and the return to the source. Kumbh Mela is a reminder of the journey every human being is on, a journey of spiritual seeking, of shedding the material weight, and of ultimately finding that which transcends the physical body. It is here that seekers, from Naga Sadhus to ordinary pilgrims, come together in a rare moment of collective consciousness. A moment that reminds us that we are not separate but part of a greater whole. Lastly, mukti, liberation, freedom or salvation is the final pursuit. It is not an end in itself, but the culmination of a process. Mukti is the state of being utterly free from the limitations of the mind and the body, where there is no longer a separation between the self and the divine. The Naga Sadhu, the seeker, the ordinary person, all are on the same journey towards this liberation. The pursuit of mukti is not about renunciation of life, but the mastery over the dualities of existence, pleasure and pain, birth and death, self and other. To walk the path of mukti is to become intensely aware of the transient nature of everything around you. It is to live in such a way that your entire being is immersed in the present moment. For the Naga Sadhu, mukti is not just a philosophical concept, it is the very experience of existence itself, pure, boundless and undivided. In conclusion, the journey of the Naga Sadhus, the pursuit of siddhis, the sacred Kumbh Mela and the ultimate goal of mukti are all part of a single narrative, the quest for liberation. This quest is universal, it is not confined to a particular religion, sect or culture. It is the longing in every human heart to experience life beyond the limitations of the physical and mental realms, to become free, to experience the boundless vastness of existence. Siddhis are often described in yogic and spiritual traditions as mystical or supernatural abilities that arise as a byproduct of intense spiritual practice and self-discipline. These powers are not the end goal of the yogic path, but are instead seen as manifestations of the deep transformation that occurs within an individual who has achieved a certain level of mastery over the mind and body. Siddhis, in this context, are considered distraction, temporary abilities that, while fascinating, can pull the practitioner away from their true purpose, the realization of the self and liberation from the cycles of attachment and ego. The term siddhi comes from the Sanskrit word siddha, meaning accomplished or perfected. It implies that a person has reached a state of spiritual maturity where the natural laws of the physical and mental realms no longer constrain them in the way they do for ordinary individuals. These powers are often described in ancient texts as a wide range of abilities such as telepathy, levitation, the ability to change one's form, and the power to control the elements. However, it is essential to recognize that these abilities are not the ultimate aim of a true yogi or spiritual seeker. What Siddhis reveal is the potential of the human mind when it is freed from its usual limitations. Through focused practice and discipline, the practitioner learns to go beyond the egoic self and tap into a deeper state of awareness. In this state, the boundaries of the self seem to dissolve, and the mind becomes more attuned to the subtle energies and forces that govern the universe. Siddhis then are glimpses into this expanded state of consciousness where the individual is no longer restricted by the ordinary limitations of space, time and matter. Despite the fascination with Siddhis, it is crucial to understand that they are not the true aim of spiritual practice. They are seen as temporary phenomena that arise from deep inner work, but they do not equate to ultimate freedom. In fact, the pursuit of Siddhis can be dangerous for the practitioner if they become attached to these abilities, as it can lead to the reinforcement of the ego rather than its dissolution. The mind can become captivated by these powers, causing the practitioner to deviate from their true spiritual path. Moreover, Siddhis are often considered to be of little value in the greater context of spiritual growth. The real purpose of yoga, meditation and other spiritual disciplines is to transcend the limitations of the mind and body and to realize the nature of the self, that which is eternal, unchanging and beyond the dualities of life and death. Siddhis, while they may appear impressive, are seen as fleeting manifestations of a mind that is still subject to the illusions of the material world. In the true yogic tradition, the focus is on the liberation of the soul, not the attainment of worldly powers. A person who has mastered the inner sciences of yoga and meditation may indeed experience these abilities, but the truly enlightened being recognizes that they are not important. The development of Siddhis can even be a potential trap on the path to liberation, as it may create a sense of superiority or attachment to the powers themselves. Therefore, true spiritual masters understand that the key is not in acquiring or displaying such powers, but in using the practices to transcend the ego and experience a state of unity with the divine. Siddhis also reflect the depth of control one has over the physical and mental body. In yogic philosophy, it is said that when one reaches a certain level of self-mastery, the laws of nature no longer apply in the same way. The mind becomes so clear, so purified that it can influence the physical world in ways that seem miraculous to those who are still caught in the illusion of separateness. These powers arise not from the desire to control or manipulate the world, but as a natural outcome of deep, focused practice. The individual is not the controller, they have simply come into alignment with a higher order of existence. In some traditions, Siddhis are said to arise when the mind reaches a state of profound concentration called dhyana and the body has been sufficiently purified through practices such as asanas and pranayama. At this stage, the practitioner becomes so attuned to the inner workings of their being that they can transcend the limitations of ordinary experience. This deep connection to the self allows for the spontaneous manifestation of these abilities, but they are seen as secondary to the realization of the ultimate truth, the oneness of all things. While Siddhis may appear to be miraculous powers, they are ultimately seen as a reflection of the potential inherent within every human being. They reveal that we are all capable of much more than we realize, but they also serve as a reminder that true power lies not in controlling external circumstances but in mastering the inner world. The real journey is not one of accumulating external abilities but of dissolving the inner obstacles that prevent us from experiencing our true nature. Siddhis, in their various forms, are simply markers along the way, pointing to a deeper truth about the mind's untapped potential. Therefore, Siddhis, while they might fascinate and even inspire awe, are not to be sought after as ends in themselves. Instead, they are understood as natural expressions of a mind that has transcended its limitations. The pursuit of spiritual realization is not about acquiring powers, but about achieving freedom from the mind's illusion of separateness. Siddhis may come as a result of this journey, but they should not define it. The true purpose of the yogic path is not to master the external world, but to realize the boundless, eternal self within. The Kumbh Mela is one of the largest and most significant spiritual gatherings in the world, attracting millions of pilgrims, ascetics, and devotees from across India and around the globe. It is a festival of immense spiritual importance, steeped in ancient traditions, and takes place at specific times in four sacred locations in India: Haridwar, Prayagraj, Nashik, and Ujjain. The event occurs once every 4 years in each of these places, with the full Kumbh Mela being held every 12 years in one of these locations. During the Kumbh, devotees gather to bathe in the holy waters of the river at these sacred sites, believing that such an act will cleanse them of their sins and bring them closer to divine liberation. The origins of the Kumbh Mela lie in an ancient mythological story. According to Hindu tradition, the gods and demons churned the ocean to obtain the nectar of immortality, known as Amrita. During the churning, a few drops of this nectar spilled into the four rivers where the Kumbh Mela is held today. These places, considered to be blessed with divine energy, became known as the locations for the Kumbh Mela, where one could spiritually benefit from the waters and experience a deep connection with the divine. At its core, the Kumbh Mela is a collective act of spiritual renewal. For the millions who converge at these sacred sites, the primary purpose is to purify the body and soul through immersion in the holy waters. The belief is that bathing in the river during this time, particularly at the auspicious moments determined by astrology, washes away past karma and grants the devotee freedom from the cycle of birth and death. It is seen as an opportunity for personal transformation and spiritual liberation, a time to reconnect with the divine and to experience unity with the universe. While the mass of people who attend the Kumbh Mela comes from all walks of life, it is particularly significant for the ascetics or sadhus who participate in the event. Among them are the Naga Sadhus, who are known for their extreme spiritual practices. For these ascetics, the Kumbh Mela represents a rare and sacred occasion to come together with fellow seekers in a moment of collective spiritual consciousness. The Naga Sadhus, with their distinct practices and rituals, often take a central role in the Kumbh, demonstrating to the world the depths of devotion and discipline required to transcend the material world. Their presence, as well as the presence of thousands of other ascetics and yogis, infuses the Mela with a profound sense of spiritual energy and purpose. However, the Kumbh Mela is more than just a religious gathering, it is a manifestation of the spiritual yearning of humanity. People from all over India, from different cultural backgrounds and religious denominations, come together in a shared experience of devotion, community and transformation. Pilgrims journey from the farthest corners of the country to take part in the festival, often enduring difficult conditions and long travels. This journey itself is part of the spiritual process, a pilgrimage that leads to physical and emotional purification as much as it does to spiritual rejuvenation. The festival is also a grand spectacle of ritual ceremonies and spiritual teachings. Devotees perform prayers, fire rituals and offerings to the deities, while spiritual leaders and saints deliver discourses on sacred teachings. The streets are lined with tents, stalls and makeshift temples, where seekers gather to receive teachings from renowned gurus, participate in group meditations, and experience the atmosphere of devotion. The collective energy generated by millions of people praying, chanting and meditating together creates a powerful force that is believed to elevate the spiritual atmosphere of the entire region. For many, it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that brings a deep sense of connection with the divine. The Kumbh Mela is also a symbol of the cycle of life and death. Its periodic nature, occurring every 12 years in each of the four locations, serves as a reminder of the cyclical nature of existence. The event signifies not only the individual journey towards purification and liberation, but also the larger cosmic rhythm of creation, preservation and dissolution. The river itself, with its eternal flow, becomes a metaphor for the passage of time and the constant movement of life and death, reinforcing the notion that life is temporary and liberation is the ultimate goal. Beyond the religious and spiritual aspects, the Kumbh Mela represents a profound sense of collective identity and shared human experience. It fosters unity among people of diverse backgrounds, transcending the boundaries of caste, creed and social status. In the chaos of the crowds and the beauty of the rituals, there is a deep undercurrent of human longing for something greater, for a sense of meaning and purpose that goes beyond the fleeting distractions of daily life. For those who participate, the Kumbh Mela is more than a religious festival, it is an immersion into the very essence of life itself. It is a celebration of human spirituality, a collective yearning for truth and liberation. It brings together people who, despite their differences, are united in their common quest for something beyond the physical world, a search for the divine, for liberation, and for the ultimate truth. In this way, the Kumbh Mela serves as both a personal pilgrimage and a communal event, one that transcends individual boundaries and brings all who take part into a greater understanding of the infinite nature of the universe. In the end, the Kumbh Mela is more than just a religious gathering or a spiritual ritual. It is a profound reminder of our shared human longing for connection, purification and liberation. It teaches us that regardless of our backgrounds, we are all on a common journey, a journey towards self-realization, inner peace and union with the divine. The sacred waters of the river represent not only physical cleansing but the deeper purification of the soul, a call to shed our egos, our attachments and our limitations. As we stand at the banks of these rivers, we are reminded that life is fleeting and the only true goal is to experience the boundless, unchanging truth that lies within. The Kumbh Mela invites us all to look beyond the surface, to find unity in diversity and to experience the transformative power of collectivist spiritual energy. It offers a moment of profound insight into the nature of existence, a reminder that we are all connected, that we all seek the same truth, and that the ultimate purpose of life is to experience that boundless freedom and liberation. Thank you.